Hello, it's Simon Zutshi here, and in this property education video, we're talking all about interest rates. What's going to happen to UK interest rates? Are they going to come down? Are interest rates falling too fast? There are lots of conflicting views out there. So I'm going to give you my opinion based on my 30 years investing in property and 22 years helping people like you how to become a more successful investor. And I'm going to share with you what I think is the absolute perfect time for you to be investing based on interest rates. So I do hope you enjoy this video. By the way, please like the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to make sure you're notified anytime a new video like this comes out, so you're getting the latest information on which you can act on to become a more successful investor. So let's talk about interest rates. So this month, the Bank of England have done another drop of 0.25%. So the Bank of England base rate is now 4.25%. Now, it looks like officially inflation is becoming under control, and the Bank of England used the interest rates as a macroeconomic tool to control inflation. So inflation goes up, they raise the interest rates to slow down the economy. When inflation comes down, they reduce the interest rates, which then stimulates the economy. And that's why in the news at the moment, there are quite a lot of conflicting views about what's going on and what should happen. Recently, I saw the chief economist for the Bank of England saying he felt that actually interest rates are coming down too fast. And if they come down too fast, then that might overstimulate the economy and we might see a rise in inflation. Now, my personal opinion, and this is just my opinion here, and I'd love to hear your view in the comment box, I don't believe the inflation figures that we are being told. Now, it might be a bit controversial, but come and comment below. Do you believe that inflation is as we're being told, or do you think inflation is much higher? Personally, when I go to the supermarket with my wife to do the weekly shopping, I'm constantly surprised how much more we're seeing prices of everyday shopping. And that's supposed to be included in the basket of goods they look at when they work out the inflation rate. So come and comment below. I'd love to see what you think. However, officially, inflation is apparently coming down and it's under control. But if interest rates come down and everyone gets a bit more excited and starts spending more money, it's going to stimulate the economy. With all the public sector demands for an increase in pay and inflation busting pay rises, I think we're going to see that trickle back into the economy, and I wouldn't be surprised if inflation actually goes up towards the end of 2026. Now, if that happens, obviously the Bank of England will probably stall the reduction in interest rates and may even reverse it and put interest rates back up. Now, that's contrary to the general view that most people have, that actually interest rates should be coming down further this year. Some people predict we might have another 0.75% drops, which means rates would go down as low as 3.5%. There are some people who believe we might see rates eventually come down to less than 3%. Now, I don't know if it's going to go as low as that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bank of England base rates settling somewhere between 3 and 4%. But it really does depend on what happens to the economy and also what happens to inflation. So what does this mean for you and your property investing? I believe that many of the investors I speak to are waiting to get into their property investing. They're waiting to buy more property investments because they think, well, if interest rates come down, I'd rather wait for 6 or 9 months, then I might be paying less on my mortgage. Now, whilst that kind of makes sense, I completely understand that. I think the reality is many mortgage companies have already factored in the fact that rates are going to come down. So even if we see the Bank of England drop the base rates maybe another 3 times down to 3.5%, I'm not sure that we'll see that 0.75 reduction in the average mortgage out there because much of it's been factored in already. I believe that we are going to see property prices generally start to come up in the UK by the end of 25, if not 2026. Now, it really depends on what area you're in. In some areas, property prices are already going up. In some areas, they're very stable, and in some areas, they are definitely coming down. So it kind of depends on the area you're in, kind of depends on the property you're looking at as well. But I think a significant trend will be increasing property prices towards the end of 2025 and into 2026. Now, why do I think that's going to be the case? Well, first of all, remember, you've got to look at the macroeconomics here. We live on an island. with a limited amount of accommodation and an increasing population. We do not have enough accommodation. And you might think prices of property seem quite high now, and they always seem high compared to what they were in the past. But because of inflation, because of supply and demand, that's why we see property prices generally go up. Now, at the moment, we are in this buyer's market. We've been in this buyer's market for about a year or so, where there are more people looking to sell than there are looking to buy. So that's why it's good for us as buyers, because we have more choice. There's less competition right now, which means we can negotiate better prices and better terms, ideally with motivated sellers. So if that's the case, maybe now is actually the time for us to be securing these great deals, because once property prices start to go up and everyone believes that they're going up, including the press, including the sellers, you'll have a lot of sellers who are optimistic that someone will come along and offer them more for their property, which means they'll be less likely to be flexible on price and or terms. Now, no matter what's happening to the market, there are always some motivated sellers. But I'm just saying there are probably more motivated sellers right now than there will be in maybe 6 to 9 months when everyone believes the market's going up. You could absolutely maybe wait until later in the year, and maybe if you bought a property and got a mortgage, you might be paying less on a monthly basis. However, if property prices do go up, as I expect, well, then you might be paying more for the property in the first place, which means more deposit to go in because you only put 25% of the purchase price in, and obviously you're going to have a higher mortgage anyway. So you've got to weigh these two things up. Is it worth waiting until interest rates might come down, or is it worth jumping in now where you'll probably secure a better deal? I was speaking to one of my clients yesterday who was saying that he was looking to refinance one of his properties and take out a big chunk of money to use as deposits because he recognised that now is a great time to invest. However, he was saying that if he refinances now, he's going to have about a £5,000 redemption penalty. It's a penalty you pay if you remortgage before the end of the fixed term. And I said to him, well, okay, no one likes to pay money for nothing to mortgage companies. However, if you wait until the end of the year where there's no redemption penalty, there's a good chance that the average property might cost more than $5,000 more anyway. So I would say get the money now where there's less competition, go out there, find some motivated sellers rather than waiting and avoiding that redemption penalty. So maybe having a bit more money, but end up paying more for the property you're going to buy. So I believe if you get out there, find the motivated sellers right now who are desperate to get rid of their properties, you can negotiate a win-win deal. So it's great for them because they get the sale they need. You get a great deal as well. And I think it's much better to do that and get going now. And as long as it stacks up now, as long as it makes you money now, gives you cash flow, and it's a good ROI that meets your personal investing criteria, I think it's much better to invest now rather than wait, because no one knows what's really going to happen in the future. Property prices might go up, they might come down. Interest rates might go up, they might come. No one really knows. But if you find an investment that makes sense today and makes money today, why not just buy that property and then wait? Because what I do know, what I do believe, I'm absolutely certain about, over the long term, I'm talking 10, 20, 30 years, we will see a significant increase in property prices because of this limited supply and this increasing population. And that's why we're always going to see the long-term trend of property prices go up in the UK. Now, of course, prices don't always go up. It's a cyclical market. They come up and they also come down. But this long-term trend is up. So I wouldn't really worry about interest rates, where they may go. Personally, if I'm remortgaging right now, if I'm buying right now, I'm getting a 2-year fixed mortgage because I believe in 2 years rates probably will be less than they are now, but I'm happy to lock in the rate right now. As long as that rate works, I'm happy with that. If you're uncertain about interest rates in the future, you might lock in a 5-year mortgage where you've got a fixed rate for 5 years, and then at that point you remortgage it. And by that time, hopefully property prices have gone up significantly. You should have plenty of equity. Also because of inflation, rents will have also gone up and you'll be able to refinance that property. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, I'd love to hear your opinion. What do you think is happening to inflation rates? If you believe it's coming down and it's as low as they say it is, just put believe into the chat box. If you don't believe inflation is as low and you think things are actually a lot more expensive or feel more expensive, just put don't believe into the comments box below. It'd be really interesting to see what you, the viewers, think. As I said, if you like this video, please hit the like button, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to make sure you're notified of any new videos come out. Until next time, I encourage you to invest with knowledge, invest with skill.